Hey, everybody out there. Linda Bean from the Kellyanne Dolan Memorial Fund. Thanks for joining us this morning on Shining a Light. We talk a lot about what it's like to be put in a position to be a parent of a child who's dealing with a complex healthcare diagnosis, whether it's the day-to-day contending with a child with a serious illness or living with a disability or experiencing injury. And we want to put resources in the hands of our family. So I'm delighted today to welcome my friend April Coppola to the studio. Hey, April.
Hey, Linda. Nice to
Hey,
see you.
nice to see you. Another place other than hiking on the mountain.
That's
Uh,
right.
so welcome. I remember early on, we connected a little over a year ago. And when you learned where I worked,
Yes.
you shared a little bit about your life.
hmm
So let's just dive into it. I would love to hear about Poloma, kind of a day in the life of caring for her and being her mom.
Okay. All right. So I'll just use today as an example because this is pretty typical of every day with Paloma, right? So she has her routines. So we get up around 6 o'clock. Sometimes she'll get into bed with me around 5. Sometimes I'm fortunate enough to keep her there.
Mhm.
We'll come downstairs. She has to have tea. So every morning she needs her tea. So it's the first thing we do. It's like tea. You got to make her like 3 breakfasts because, one set of pancakes is not enough. We got to go through the whole routine. And then it's time. It is baby Paloma. And then it's time to get on the bus. The bus comes very early. She gets picked up at 6:45 a.m. At my house. Obviously, she's on the special needs bus. Well, maybe not obviously, but so she is on the special needs bus. And I will politically correct or not, I think as a parent of someone with special needs, you like to make fun of your own child, right? And so you have to find humor in it. So, yep. So the short bus comes and picks her up right in front of my house. I don't have to worry about her walking down to the edge of the street or
Yep.
anything. So yeah, so getting her ready in the morning and then basically, it's me doing everything. She's very capable in her own ways at school, but at home, that's a different story. So, mom makes her breakfast, mom makes her tea. She will tidy up before it's time to get ready. And then, I take her in the bathroom, I brush her teeth, I wash her face, I get her dressed, I put her shoes on,
Nice.
she gets her coat, the backpack. We walk outside to get the bus, and then she will proceed to yell to everybody who is still sleeping, or maybe you're awake in my neighborhood. I don't know, but I live in a great neighborhood. Jay, good morning, Jay. Bob, the bus driver. Like, she'll just throw out random stuff about everybody and everything. And she'll just be yelling about it until the bus shows up. And then the challenge comes in, right? Like, so up to that point, everything's easy peasy. And then it's time to get on the bus. And then it's all going great. And it's like, good morning, Bob. And she walks up the bus steps, and then she sees the seat, and then she just starts yelling. And then it's like every single morning, it's the same thing. And you
Yep.
know what? It's the way that it is. It's an endless loop she's stuck in, and you just deal with it. I mean, if it got me upset every day, I would be living like a whole life of woe is me, right? It's just like, okay, in 20 seconds when the bus gets moving, she's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, when new parents of any, a neurotypical child even, they go to daycare and they drop them off, and it's like the kid's crying and they
Yep.
want their
Yep.
parent, and it's the same thing. And that within seconds after they leave or after the bus leaves, everything's fine again.
Yeah, it's such a hard line to straddle. We don't want our kids to face, any unnecessary adversity, right?
Right.
And when we're talking
Right.
about a child with a neurodiverse or intellectual disability, whatever
hmm
label we're going to affix to it, not feeding into that has got to be an extra
Absolutely.
challenge, right? You
Yeah.
just must your heart must be in your throat, but you've done this 1,000 times, so
Yeah.
that she's able to move past it and go
Yeah.
about her day and have,
Right.
a successful, wonderful day at school.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like at this point, there are so many things that I'm used to. I am literally unfazed by it. Like I'll just say, like, I'll be like, okay, all right, okay, we all get it. And then you just walk away. And I know, and maybe that sounds harsh, but it works for us. And I know that a lot of it is, maybe it's attention seeking, maybe it's, the other thing to remember is she doesn't really have the words to verbalize how she's feeling.
Right.
So maybe she's upset about something in particular. I don't know. Maybe her sneakers tied too tight. I don't know what's going on. But, maybe that's what set her off. But for the most part, I feel like I am very fortunate. She is a great kid. I mean, she's a happy kid. She loves to laugh. She has a sense of humor.
I wonder where she got that from. 'Cause I know,
she's quirky like her mom. I will tell you, so she's, I'm just going to go off tangent, so I apologize. But so her dad and I are divorced, and we are really great co-parents. So props to him for that. And it took us a little while to get there, but we're awesome. And so we'll text each other just funny things, like she had a little health scare in the summertime, and she happened to be with dad, and he took her to the hospital. And he'll send me a photo with like a funny caption about it, or, it's just, you just have to see the humor in things, I feel like. But so he recently texted me, and he was like, so our nickname for her is Pumi. He's like, what is going on with Pumi? Like, she is not going to bed until all the doors are shut. She's cleaned everything up. She's putting stuff in the dishwasher. Like, and what's with the doors? And my reply to him was just simply, he's like, she's so OCD. And my response was, I'm so sorry I effed up our kid. She takes after me. And he's just like, yeah, okay, got it. Like, it's just the way it is.
Well, it's, the humor that you're able to inflect into it, but you also hit upon something else that I think is really, important. You've got a good support system.
I am very fortunate. I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, my next question was really, juggling it really, even though you co-parent well, day to day really is on you.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you balance being a single mom, professional parent, a professional, and
Right.
having a little bit of a personal life, some free time?
Yeah, that's easy. That's a schedule. The same thing that works for my kid works for me. So I am I have a schedule for everything. It doesn't mean that there's no room for spontaneity by any means, but I have certain things that keep me in check and that keep me happy, and I try to stick to it. So pretty much every morning after Poloma gets on the bus, I work out. I work out at home. I have my own little gym in my basement. I watch some Netflix shows while I'm working out, have my own routine, get ready. I work from home, so I never have to go to the office, which in and of itself, has its own challenges. I mean, I'm a very social person, so I do miss it, but we do a lot of Teams calls and things like that. So, it's keeping a schedule. So I will schedule all of my time out. I know what I'm doing for the next 3 weeks, that's what gives me the balance. And I'm not going to lie, I also have a therapist. I think there's no shame in having a therapist. If you need somebody to talk to and you need a little help, it doesn't hurt. And that's true for anybody, not just a parent of a special needs child. I had a therapist before I had Poloma, just to kind of help you navigate things and put things into perspective. So really it's just schedule. So I schedule my own time in the morning. Poloma, when I have help, I have great help. I have a feeling you're going to ask me about my help in a moment, but so I usually work until about 5:30 or 6. And then it's Poloma time. We have our dinner. I get her ready. I give her a shower. I have to do all of her care skills, which I'm used to. And so, it just happens. She's really good about going to bed, takes her melatonin, and then I have my time after that. So,
well, you've talked a lot about the daily living skills and kind
mm-hmm.
of that routine and how, Poloma, functions really optimally at her best and is happiness in keeping to that routine. But
Right.
It does take a village. So
Right.
just because Poloma does not have words to
Right.
assign to, feelings or
Mm-hmm.
dreams or there's a team that really focuses on growth and development. So tell me about behavioral therapists and what
Yeah,
what's happening
I'm
there.
giggling, but so here's the thing, when you're a mom and or a dad and you're raising a kid with special needs, everybody has advice. Everybody has advice for you, whether it's like, oh, have you tried horseback riding? Have you tried swimming? Have you done ABA therapy? Have you, and in the beginning, it's like, oh my God, if I don't do all of these things, I'm a horrible parent. And then finally, and then as we tried them all, it's like, we have been kicked out of so many programs. We were asked to not return to riding. We were kicked out of the special needs swim class. We were kicked out of the special needs camp. And Paloma's a great kid, but she just doesn't know how to deal. And so she needs a little more care than what the typical kid would get, even though it was a special needs class. And so I will say that early on, we had some really great behavior specialists and TSS. And we had the same behavior specialist for, I think, an unheard of 10 years. And she was magnificent. And same with our TSS. And so that really helped me when Poloma was young. It was such a benefit. It was every weekend. And so it was like, and her name was Tara. I don't want to get upset.
I love this picture, because we have such a heart. Tamanin Middle School is family to the Dolan Fund. And you know this. We connected. You're like, oh, you guys do a basketball tournament each year. The school's adopted you. And I had forgotten about that until the pictures came. That such a special community.
Fabulous.
So that's her graduation at Tamanin Middle.
That's her graduation. To the left is her best friend, Lizzie. So Tamanin has a friends program, and that's how, and Lizzie's a neurotypical kid. She is a senior in high school now. And she and Poloma are still friends. She was at our house this past Saturday. And I didn't ask permission. So Jill Heisey, I hope it's okay, but you're an amazing rock star. She was Paloma's teacher for 3 years at Tamanin. And so just the progress that she made there was incredible. I mean, it's such a loving, giving school. I mean,
it absolutely is. They have been right by our side. Even it was amazing how they pivoted through the pandemic, and we just kept plugging on. But something before we get into your words of wisdom, which is where I'm moving, because when you said, I was like, these are good. Every parent or caregiver in general out there needs to kind of hear these words of wisdom. But we're talking about climbing that mountain for the caregiver, but I think we often forget, this is exhausting physically and emotionally for the child as well. And we joke about the ABA therapists and being kicked out, but it's you're her soft landing. To come home and maybe she doesn't feel like doing her OT that day, or practicing with a vision, a communication board to express her feelings. So it's fluid and it works both ways. But in the time that we have, because I know you're juggling today, you've got to get on a work call at 11:30. Let's get into some of those words of wisdom, and I'm gonna, because they were so good. The glasses go back on, and I know they're going to come up here. Okay, you're far more capable than you think. Talk to me a little bit more about that one.
Well, I mean, a perfect example of that is when I saw the videos of Poloma at school. Like, I had no idea of all of the things she could do. There's like, they'll send me a video of her working the microwave and cleaning up and putting things in. I'm like, what? So then I slowly, started her, asking her to do these things. And it's incredible to me that even as their own parent, and sometimes it's harder as a parent, like you're a little blinded by the fact that, maybe they that they have a learning difference. And, but they are so capable. Like, she can do so many things that I was not aware of. So the key though is just to be patient, like I think the good job, buddy, that she does all the time, that's because I say it to her. I'm like, good job, buddy, good job. You're doing a great job with that. And just like let her take the time with it. Who cares if something went in the wrong spot? Just encourage her to do something. And it's great.
And I love, yesterday I heard my friend and coworker say the word tough love. Don't, she can do this. Don't give up.
No.
This is what, she can walk, she can, you've got to stick with the plan when sometimes, sure, it's easier to give in.
Right.
I loved, you go and there's a meltdown, right? There's a meltdown and all the eyes are on you. So take us into the next one about not giving the energy to other people's looks and comments.
No, I mean, I think, that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned from being Paloma's mom. Stop worrying about what other people think. And so, we'll show up. And I can remember, so when we were young, I would take her to the library, she'd have a meltdown. And I can remember being, oh my God, I am mortified. Like, what are people going to think? This is terrible. Everybody's surrounding us. I don't know what to do. And then, as time went on, I wish I could tell younger me, you know what? Who cares? Just get through it. Do whatever you need to. And so it still happens. We'll get to Giant. She loves Giant. But then she doesn't want to get out of the car. And that's where you just don't give in anymore. So it's like, get out of the car. And then she's yelling. And then maybe she's hating herself. I'm like,
and
get out of the car. Let's go, buddy. We got to get in there. We got to see, everybody we know at Giant, because everybody knows us at a local Giant, and they're fantastic.
Yep.
And so I'll get behind her and just push her right in there.
Yep.
And, everybody's staring or looking. Some people will like give you a dirty look. Other people will be like, oh, can I help? What's wrong? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. We got it. And then once you get in, it's okay. You just,
you do what you have to do.
You do, right? You do whatever it is. And if that means that we're inside Giant and she's still having a fit, and I'm like, I start saying, Ernie, like just random stuff to make her laugh, I'll do it.
I literally saw a mom about a year ago that put her daughter, probably about Paloma's age, on her back, and they continued down Forbidden Drive on Wissahickon Trail. With everybody wanting to compassionately, how can we help? But this is just, do what you have to do. The self-care piece, we've been talking a lot about, and I want to kind of close on that one, making yourself a priority, because I think that's probably easier said than done, but let's talk that one through.
Yeah. I mean, that it does go back to the scheduling. So you have to schedule the time for it. And that honestly has always been important for me. So even way back when Paloma, that's not a newly learned skill. So even when Paloma was young, just take the time to be with friends, take the time to go on vacation, whether or not you're going with your spouse or your, whoever you're dating or whatever your situation is, just make time for yourself and don't lose your own identity. I think somebody recently said something to me, like this is a biggie for me. Like, people ask you about your child. Oh, she's 16. And then they start talking about their kid. Oh, is she into cheerleading? Is she into soccer? And I'm like, no. My daughter has special needs. And then the reaction is, oh, I'm sorry. Like, what are you sorry for? Did you create it? Like, I am not, and then they want to ask you questions, but I am more than the mom of a special needs kid. I've always had my own identity and my own interests. And I think you really do, you need to nurture that. And I'll just say this briefly, because I know we're almost out of time, Linda, but I am, fairly newly divorced. And there were a lot of things I did not know how to do around the house. I'll be honest, right? So never mowed the lawn. I didn't know how to patch walls. I didn't know how to caulk. I didn't know how to do any of these things. I never gardened. I didn't do any of it. And it was just so amazing that I have like a mentor and friend who lives next door. And he was like, oh yeah, I can teach you. I'll teach you how to do that. Kind of like what we do with our children. I'll show you how to make a sandwich. If you want it, you do it. And that's what happened with me. And I found I really enjoyed it. And so it's just kind of taking, like, you'll find new interests. Like, I never would have thought 2 years ago, I love to mow and weed whack and plant flowers. And I love to spray paint and paint and, create all kinds of things in my backyard. It's like a magical little oasis.
Well,
And
asking for help, which doesn't come
as
easy. And
absolutely.
we really connected over being middle-aged and being single,
Yes.
but this is the
Yes.
perfect way to kind of close out all of your what you've shared with us in your journey, your words of wisdom. You said something to me on that first hike in Valley Forge, and you said, I didn't get to choose the deck of cards that were handed to me, but I am going to play the heck out of them.
That's right.
And that just really stuck with me. I mean, I saw it in my own life, but that layer of being a parent too. I am
Yeah.
more than, I am not defined by this is the joyful life and happy life that I am going to lead. And I think
Hmm.
it's hard to see that when you're in the day to day. And I want to thank you for spending time with us, because you're such an inspiration and have become a friend to me.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you for
that,
having me.
oh, you're welcome. And this will, hopefully tentacles will spread. And when, a mom or a dad or a grandparent is caring for a child with some complex needs, that it will just be the words that they need to hear that day to lift their spirit. So I'm
Oh
going to
gosh, I
let
sure
you,
hope so.
me too. I'm going to let you run and get on that call, and see you on the mountain soon, or something fun soon.
I'm hoping to see you Thursday night on that night hike.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Perfect
Okay.
segue though. In April here today, we have a virtual support group. We're talking about resources for families to kind of check in and support one another. This Thursday, we have a virtual support group for caregivers from 12 to 1. You've got a nice little QR code, or you can check out our website, dolanfund.org, to get registered for that, partnering with Ryan's Case for Smiles. So, and also another fun event to join us is Cocktails for a Cause. Coming up, we're partnering with small businesses that will give back to our cause and families. Save the date for that. It's Thursday, December 8th from 6 to 8:30, kind of one-stop shopping for all of your holiday and gift needs. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us today, and we'll see you soon.